Okay, in this unit we're going to be looking at volume of certain objects. And so once again, if you need to convert, you might end up using your formulas and find your answers in centimeters cubed, but they might want it in meters cubed. So you make sure you follow the flow chart and you can convert it that way. So we've popped in the conversion chart there in case you need it. All right, so once again too, when you're using any of your formulas, make sure that the units are all the same. So are they all in centimeters or are they all in meters and so on? All right. So when we have a look at the volume of different shapes, the volume of an object is always the area of its face. So if you have a look at this funny little object here, they've told me that the area of this like puddle shaped thing is 2 meters squared, and then to get its volume, you times it by the height. So if I was doing the volume here for this one, I would say that it is, now they're both in meters, which is good, but the volume is the 2 meters squared times the height, which is 4. So this one will be 8, the height's 4 meters, it'll be 8 meters cubed. So you'll notice that volume is in cubic units, which means to the power of 3. All right, so volume 8 meters cubed. Okay, later on you'll see that we change things like, so 1 centimeter cubed is equal to 1 mil. Okay, so we might see that later, because often when we talk about volume, we might start talking about some liquid or capacity and things like that. All right, so if we go and look at our formulas over here for, say, a basic rectangular prism. So you can see they're saying the volume is the length times width times height. Now, if you think about it, the area of a rectangle is always the length and maybe times the width of it. So in this diagram, it's called H. So if you found the area of that and then you times it by the height of it, you'd see that you get the volume. So the volume of a rectangular prism is always the length times the width times the height. So you can just multiply the 3 different sides together. If you were finding the area of this triangular prism, you can see that they've found the area of the face, which is a triangle, which is half base times height. So here you can see they've got the half, the base, and the height. Oh, well, the height for my triangle is actually L, isn't it? Oops, sorry. Is L here. So when we're finding it, you can see that they've done the half base times height. So I'm going to change this to be the triangle. So you can see there's the area of the triangle, and then you times it by the length of the height of it. So there's the height. So you can just use this formula when you see a triangular prism. We go, all right, we're going to use this formula. When we see a rectangular prism, we're going to use this formula for volume. But just so you know, it still relates, that it's still the area of the face times the height, because sometimes we might get some odd little shapes, more like this diagram. Okay, so let's have a look at these few ones. So I'm going to do the first, find the volume to 2 decimal places where appropriate. So I know that volume is always area of face times the height, okay? So I've got the height here, and I can see the area of the face is actually a circle. So the circle times height. Now, you might not have come across area of a circle yet. I'm not sure if it's on your formula sheet. So it's pi r squared, where the distance from the center to the edge is the radius. So if I write the formula for that, pi r squared times height, so I'm continuing to find the volume. It'll be pi, which is a button on your calculator, times the radius, 3 squared times 5. So you pop that in on your calculator. Once again, I should have made sure that the units are all the same, which they are. Okay, so we end up with the volume equaling 141.37. Now there's centimeters and it's cubic. So remember, volume is given in cubic units. So there we go. All right, let's have a look at this one. Now this one is a triangular prism. So we had the formula for that one, which we said volume was half base times height times the length. Okay, so we can see here, here's my base, that's the height of my triangle, and there's the length. So I'm going to say check that they're all in the same units, centimeters, 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 yes, and then I'll go. So a half times 7 times 8 times 12 and equals, so we'll do that on our calculators. Okay, so we end up with 336 centimeters cubed. Okay, now this final one over here, now this is a different sort of shape and I don't really know it. It doesn't stand out to be a regular shape, but if you have a look, they have given me the area of the face already. They've said that that area of that one is 13 centimeters squared. So I know that volume is always the area of the face times the length of the object. So I'm going to say straight away that's 13 centimeters squared times the length, which is 7 centimeters. So we end up with the volume being 13 times 7, which is 91 centimeters cubed. So remember, volume is given in cubic units.